Yo, what's good, guys? Ryan Hodge here with FantasyLabs.com, and we're taking a look at the Week 8. Wow, we are on Week 8 already. We are pushing through this season. But yeah, we're taking a look at the Week 8 salaries here. This is my true first look. This is the first time that I'm bringing up this DK lobby. First time that I'm bringing up the player models here on Fantasy Labs as well. And so, as usual, let's dive in. Let's take a look at our quarterback spot here. Top three: Allen, Murray, Mahomes, 82, 79, 78. Okay. Yeah, Kansas City's dust. Um, I'm not paying $7,800 for Patrick Mahomes. They clearly can't get it right. You would think that they'd be able to do a little bit more against the Giants than what they did on Monday Night Football. I think that Josh Allen against Jacksonville is in an interesting spot here. I think you can do a lot to the Jacksonville defense, so I'm okay attacking them in any way, shape, or form. It really does not matter to me. So I think it's totally fine to attack them through the air with Josh Allen. I think that you can absolutely go back to the well on a couple guys like Emmanuel Sanders. He was still getting those deep targets that we saw. You can stack Josh Allen, obviously, with Stephon Diggs as well. So totally fine doing a full onslaught against Jacksonville there. And you don't necessarily have to bring it back with anyone either. I really don't think that there's a reason to force back some Marvin Jones with Jacksonville or to well, actually, maybe we'll take a look at the tight end spot. Maybe our boy Dan Arnold is still sitting there at 3K. But yeah, Kyler Murray, he's just once again very expensive and not really helping you get there from a fantasy standpoint. A little bit of game log surfing here. We can take a look that it's just 11, 22, 25, 13, 22. Like he's had two ceiling games to start the year against Tennessee. And then he had 22 against Jacksonville. So like I said, you can kind of attack Jacksonville however you want. But Kyler just didn't really get there. 7 rushing attempts, 19 yards on them. I wonder if that was like a Chase Edmond games or something. Cleveland, Houston. Yeah, it's tough for me to pay for Kyler right now. They're just he's not being forced to throw, and he's still rushing a little bit, but without him getting there on passing, I just don't think I'm paying for it. But when we go down to Aaron Rodgers here and Lamar Jackson, now these are two guys whose price points are much more palatable in matchups that are a little bit more appealing than maybe Kyler's against San Francisco. So Rodgers against the Chiefs, quarterbacks have a phenomenal opponent plus minus. Now let me just double check that before I get too far out here. Yeah, 5 plus 5.5 right here on your opponent plus minus. That is a very good. You can see Jacksonville right there at plus 2.1. So yeah, I think paying for Rodgers is probably one of the better ways to go this week, kind of up in this upper echelon. And you can capture so much of Rodgers through Diggs too. So we'll have to take a look at his price point. Yeah, like I said, Lamar's probably in a fine spot here at $7,300. You're getting a lot of your upside with his rushing equity anyways. A little bit of game log surf. Let's take a look at some of those rush attempts. Yeah, there it is. 12, 8, 14, 7, 7. He's still absolutely getting there. Yardage-wise too. So he got 2 touchdowns in his last 5 games on the ground. His attempts, when they're forced to throw, are good. Like you can see this 45-point day here. 1 on the ground, 62 rushing, 4 TDs against Indy, who has been pretty friendly against opposing teams' quarterbacks and wide receivers. We saw that with Tannehill and A.J. Brown, and they've just been friendly all year. So I think Lamar's fine. I would prefer to find the $200 and pay for Aaron Rodgers there. Joe Burrow, $6,800. Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Dak against Denver. I think he'll be in. It was like a very, very close game time decision. Sunday Night Football. I think he's good to go. And then obviously all the wide receivers coming off the COVID list for Green Bay should be good to go too. So we'll obviously need to monitor that, but I think we're good there. Herbert against Philly. I don't know. Let's see what the model says about that, because I don't know how I feel initially. Yeah, model's not really enthusiastic, nor telling you to stay away. Opponent plus minus negative 3.7. I thought maybe Philly wasn't quite giving it up to quarterbacks. I think Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, probably totally fine from like if you're playing large field and their ownership is suppressed, they obviously have massive ceilings. Or Mike has shown the much larger ceiling this year over Keenan, for sure. But I do think that both of those guys would be in plays maybe as a one-off, depending on price and ownership. Don't know how much I'm looking into Herbert. Right out of the gate, it really just seems like a Rodgers week, which means he'll probably be the chalk. It's probably chalk I'm okay to eat. Sometimes you just got to play the best plays, and that could be Rodgers and Devonte this week, depending on salaries and what shakes out with value at other wide receiver and running back spots. Actually, in fact, you know what? Let's take a look at some of these totals. And just see. Yeah, 31.5 for Buffalo is pretty big. And like I said, that 17-point implied team total, like I said, I just don't think you need to force anyone back. So 55.5 for this Green Bay Kansas City game. Wow, big team total here for Herbert and Jalen. Over under. Two decent implied team totals. Good implied team total for Baltimore at home here. And then the same thing with Dallas. These over-unders 49, 48.5. Yeah, I could definitely see maybe, doing the Josh Allen stuff with no bring back. I could definitely see doing the Packers game as like your core stack with a Tyreek or a Kelsey. I'm just not really sure I'm into playing any of those ancillary receivers like McColl, Pringle, etc. Demarcus Robinson. So it might be tough with salary for sure for those three guys, because I would assume that Rodgers and Tyreek are going to be two of the most expensive players at their position. Wow, Finns with a good implied team total against Houston. That's interesting. Here's this Cincy game, 24, good implied team total. Okay, so just a little bit of context on the slate there. A couple games at 50 or higher, and some pretty solid implied team totals at 26 or above here, kind of sticking to this core group. Green Bay, Buffalo really looks good right out of the gate. And yeah, I'm just not seeing a whole lot. Let's see, does the quarterback really like anyone? They like Miami against Houston, or like Tua against Houston. And it likes Stafford against Tennessee. Okay, so there we go. There's Stafford. Did I not see him here? How did I miss Stafford at 77? Do I have a different slate selected? I bet you I just have the full 14 game slate. That's why. Okay. I was confused because I definitely would have liked Stafford against Tennessee for sure. It's an island game. All right, so let's take a look back here at some of these cheaper guys, and it really Cincinnati's been playing much quicker, and they're getting a lot of their scores through the air. Their like touchdown from passing to rushing is like 3-1 or something like that. So I don't know, it's kind of noisy, but just worth noting now that we're 8 weeks in, and their last 3 and 4 weeks pace stats have been way up, like top 5. They're pacing much quicker, or maybe it was just shy of top 5, but they're pacing very quick of late, the last 4 games. So I think that's worth noting. Against Cleveland here, they do have a good implied team total, so maybe some of those guys are in play too. Kyler, I'm out. Tua's like the one cheap guy that's popping in the model. I'm not playing Teddy B against a pretty good Dallas defense. They've been pretty good so far. Let's take a look. Opponent plus minus to quarterbacks. Plus 1.3. So definitely nothing to shy away from. Perhaps like a tough matchup in some of these other games, like the Saints or New England or something like that. So, all right, let's dip over to wide receiver. I think it's long enough on quarterback. I like to spend a little bit of time on quarterback. Gives you kind of a full context of where you're looking for your player pool to stack and stuff like that. So, running back. Some rumors that we might get McCaffrey back. I'm not entirely sure about that. Kamara, a massive price tag, $8,200. With Ingram back, Kamara did see a lot of the work within the 5-yard line. I don't think Ingram saw any of it. Maybe like a target or two in the red zone, like the 10 and 20. But some of those high value touches at the 5, I think, all went to Kamara with Ingram back. But still, I'm just not sure I'm paying $8,200 for a guy who could lose a little bit of work. Usually, just not something I'm looking to do. Eckler 79, Dalvin 77, Jones 72, Mixon 71. Okay, kind of a weird running back slate here. Dalvin against Baltimore. I guess maybe an onslaught. I just keep going back to this Green Bay game, but it's obviously going to be very, very hard to play, all the expensive guys from that. We're looking at punting at defense, punting at tight end, probably punting at a third wide receiver, and definitely some sort of a value running back if one shakes up in order to get like a big, massive Jones, Rodgers, Tyreek, Adams, right? I mean, that's just going to consume so much salary. Your average player is going to probably be like $4,200 or something. So, I'll take a look at that here at the end and actually see what that looks like. J-Rob got hurt. No good against Buffalo. So, CPAT against the Saints, probably a little bit of a tougher matchup than I would like to target, but if there is no Calvin Ridley again this week, I think his role is just pretty unique with what they're doing with him in this offense. So he's not like a traditional running back in this offense, but I don't know, $6,200 or $6,300 is not a bad price tag. Damian Harris getting a ton of work, but Carolina's just like not friendly to any positions. They're just playing slow. The teams just aren't really getting there. I don't really know what it is. Need to look into that a little bit more, but they're really just not getting there. Gaskin against Houston, maybe. Yeah, like this gets thin. Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt. What's Chubb? Okay, Chubb is $6,700. So he didn't see a lot of the receiving work, but like I was saying, since he's playing a little bit quicker, I'm pretty sure that they've been fairly friendly to running backs. My model doesn't dislike him by any means. Opponent plus minus of 3. Yeah, so like if there's no Kareem Hunt, obviously we're still dealing with another back or two in Dearness Johnson in that backfield. But take a look at Chubb here. How many touches? 16 rush attempts. I think he saw 1 target. Yeah, 16 rush attempts. Like he's still getting some work, and he should be getting those high value touches inside the 1 and 5. Absolutely just shredded here against the Chargers, which we know I think we're definitely seeing that we can run on the Chargers for sure. So we'll take a look at their matchup here. I mean, this is a great box score. Just no touchdown, right? He smashes. He gets 21 rush attempts, 100 yards, no tutty. That's okay. 22, 11, 15. Yeah, Chubb might be in play here. Good matchup. Still getting the volume and the workload. We would definitely like to see him maybe getting 3 targets instead of 1, just for a little bit of added value there on DraftKings. But what are you going to do? I don't actually hate that price against Cincy. It's a little bit expensive. I think 64 to, might be a little bit more palatable, as we're probably pinching our pennies this week. At least I'm assuming so. Strong plus minus there. Good floor. Ceiling could definitely be a little bit bigger. It just hasn't. All right. Okay. I'm not doing the Gainwell experiment again, but it is against the Chargers, who I just said that we could run on. What does the opponent plus minus here say against the Chargers? Yeah, plus 1.9, so that does stand. Yeah, it's just tough, man. Too many backs in that backfield, and obviously they're just giving them looks like, with Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell was getting a ton of work, and then all of a sudden there's no Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell doesn't get a ton of work. Like, I don't know how many attempts did he get? 13 rush attempts, 0 targets, no high value touches down there at the goal line. I don't know. It's pretty brutal. Or maybe he did get 1 or 2 and I just didn't see him, but it didn't look like he was getting them. I don't have any of that data until like Wednesday, once it all comes through. Model doesn't really like CPAT. Yeah, this is it's kind of tough. There's Gaskin. So Zach Moss again, $5,300. That could definitely be some running back value that we look at. Let's take a sort this by opponent plus minus at the running back spot. So the Giants, Vegas, Cleveland, Houston, and Chargers all have some of the top matchups according to FantasyLabs opponent plus minus, which is a metric that a position has allowed to a specific, or a defense has allowed to a specific position. It helps quantify the true defensive unit strength because it will adjust for the strength of the opponent that defense has seen in prior matchups. So obviously a much bigger difference when you are facing somebody like Rex Burkhead as your running back 1 versus facing Christian McCaffrey. So that opponent plus minus does take that into consideration. So, yeah, kind of tough here at running back. Rating is all over Austin Eckler and Zach Moss and Ezekiel Elliott. Excuse me. Haven't had my coffee yet. It's early. Kamara's up there. And then, yeah, it doesn't hate Chubb either. I think I'm kind of on this Chubb play. I don't want to get like take lock on a Tuesday morning, but Chubb seems like a hashtag okay play. The only thing that doesn't make him honestly just like a good play is his receiving work, and obviously no Kareem Hunt there will hopefully elevate that, but it's just not what shook out last week by any means. Yeah, kind of a tough one at the running back spot. I think we'll need to see news like J-Rob potentially being out depending on the extent of his injury. Maybe some Booker at 5,900. I'm just not really into it. Yeah, this is kind of tough. I think Moss and Hunt stand out originally or at first take as like 2 of the okay plays. 2 of the guys if you're looking for a little bit of salary savings. Just really not interested in some of these dumpster diving plays like Tyson Williams, Trey Sermon. I'm out. Felton, I'm out. Yeah, I want nothing to do with any of this stuff. Let's move over to wide receiver. Devonte Adams, $8,200. Okay, so here, now that we know what his salary is, let's grab Rodgers, Adams, Tyreek. That already leaves us with 4,400 remaining. So probably not sharp to go with Aaron Jones there and like a full onslaught. But if you do want to pay this, you are or play these guys, you are absolutely paying a premium, $4,400. So definitely a possibility. We're gonna have to get cheap here with our probably our second and third wide receivers. So I think you're giving up a little bit of ceiling, but obviously massive ceilings that you are capturing here. So maybe not giving up a whole lot. I assume that this will have a little bit of ownership as well, but like I said in the beginning, sometimes you just got to play the best plays, man. All right, let's move along here. Stephon Diggs, 7,700 against Jacksonville. Absolutely in play. Debo just smashing again. Probably won't play him again against Arizona. Too tough. Justin Jefferson against Baltimore. No thank you. CeeDee Lamb against Denver. Yeah, I'm probably out there. Hopkins, Thielen, Keenan, DJ Moore. Man, Brandon Cooks creeping up. Marquis Brown against Minnesota, 6K. Okay, there's some ceiling at 6K. I guess Sutton has ceiling, but not really, not one to really pick on Dallas' secondary right now. They are playing pretty hot. Cooper at 57, that's a ceiling. In a tough matchup at $5,700 though, so they're definitely taking this matchup into consideration. Probably a little bit of recent performance, considering he had that great game on Sunday Night Football before these or after these salaries were released. So he's probably closer to like a $6,200 player. So I think we're getting a little bit of a discount there just based off Sunday night performance. Sanders 56, he was 5K last week. Might have to go back to the well on him. So there's a little bit of ceiling here. Parker, good implied team total against Miami. Okay. They just continued. T. Higgins was 2 yards short from 2 touchdowns. They continue to price him down way too much. I'll definitely be back in on T. Higgins here for sure at the wide receiver spot. I think that's just way too cheap. I wouldn't do it just to like force this like Chubb T. Higgins correlation. Like I just don't think that that's like what correlation. Chubb doesn't catch a lot of passes. I guess if maybe Cleveland finds 3 on the ground and it's all Chubb and now they're forced to pass since he's forced to pass, like whatever, tell yourself a story. But correlation that I want is like Rodgers, Hill, Adams, right? Like that's sound correlation. Playing a non-pass catching running back in T. Higgins just for correlation, like I'm out. But Chubb is a good value, I think, based off of the rush attempts that he's getting and his role in that offense. Hopefully he gets a little bit more targets. And then T. Higgins is just way too cheap. Didn't quite see the volume on Sunday, but definitely saw the depth of target was still high. And like I said, he was literally 2 to 3 yards short of 2 touchdowns. So I think he only saw 4 or 5 targets in this game. 6. He saw 6 targets. So yeah, that's too cheap. Let's see what the model says at wide receiver. Let's see what the model says. I bet you T. Higgins. Yeah, he's not up there, but he's definitely not down there. Opponent plus minus negative 2.1. Opponent plus minus is always going to be a little bit tougher to decipher against wide receivers, so you can use a DVOA metric. Oh, man, a very unprofessional. 2 yawns in one video. So unprofessional. Couple pro trends there for T. Tyreek at the top. How? Okay, what is going on here? Let me take a look. Okay, yeah, I didn't think that was actually my model's ratings. That was a little strange. I think maybe I was playing around with that. Tyreek Hill at the top of the model. It's just I'll be playing Tyreek. Guy's out of control, consuming so much of that market share of targets, even though those targets aren't nearly as valuable as they were in the past, just based on the quality of those targets or how much they're driving down the field. Okay, I was going to say, how is Adams not at the top of my model? That's what was really throwing me off. It's because he's still on the COVID-19 list, so he does not have a projection. But I would imagine Devonte Adams' projection comes in somewhere around 22-ish fantasy points, a 31-point ceiling, and probably something like a 13.5-point floor, just for context. So like he should absolutely be at the top of my model, just based off the opponent plus minus, his ceiling projection, and the salary. I think he'll even probably have like a good hashtag value points per salary based off of just his median projection. Cole Beasley popping. It's Cole Beasley last week, not Emmanuel Sanders. Rest in peace. My Bill stacks all had Manny Sanders and Stephon Diggs and no Cole Beasley. Just not sharp enough to play Cole Beasley. KJ Osborne, 3,600, popping in the model. Probably not. I think that's a big not wait for me. Shout out Davis. Sterling Shepard, 5,500 against Vegas. He's been getting targeted. Did he leave? I think he left that Monday Night Football game with some sort of an injury. I'm not going to lie. I was at Topgolf with some friends watching the game, so I wasn't really paying attention. But I think he left the game. I don't know. We'll have to take a look come practice report. If there is no Sterling Shepard, how much is Kadarius? Kadarius is $5,200. If there is no Sterling Shepard, we'll probably see Kadarius chalk week, even though it's kind of a little bit of a difficult spot, but I just think you get such a condensed market share targets there from Danny Dimes. It's probably worth it. I'm not really seeing at the cheap. I mean, maybe something will pop. Like I said, Kadarius Toney could definitely end up being some salary relief. Not playing Russell Gage, regardless of Ridley being in or out, based off his previous. So I'm out on the Robbie Anderson show. I was out last week, got away from it. I just am not playing the guy ever again. I'm never drafting him. I'm never playing him. I'm never writing another offseason article about him. I'm doing nothing with Robbie Anderson. The guy is 100% absolutely, completely dead to me. Never again, Robbie Anderson. I'm not playing Laviska Shenault. Everything I just said about Robbie Anderson, it just applies to Visca. Just beyond dead to me. 6 feet is not enough. It's just pure dust. Absolute just dust ball. Can't tell I'm tilted. Yeah, and I'm not going any cheaper than any of these guys. So I think at the wide receiver spot, we'll just have to see practice reports, see what shapes up with maybe an injury or two. And then I think it's probably really just trying to force in Adams and Hill and looking for some extreme salary relief. T. Higgins looks like he's in a really good spot. Maybe Tony, Kadarius Toney as well, but I do think it's probably trying to force these guys. I think just based off what we're seeing at the running back spot. Let's filter over to tight end and wrap this video up. We're running long again because I don't know how to not rant. Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, probably out on Pitts regardless of the Calvin Ridley stuff. Not even really a matchup thing. It's more just a price thing this week. If just kind of getting a general feel for the slate, I think I'm out on paying up at tight end this week, period, which means we are absolutely diving. Depending on the Dawson Knox news, we could be looking at him. How much is our boy Dan Arnold? $3,400, a little bit of a price bump. He's not $3K anymore, so kind of tough to get to. I mean, we really are like, let's just punt at defense. I don't worry about the defense that I'm picking. I'm just picking a cheap one. And let's find a 3K tight end. Don't worry about the tight end, just picking a cheap one. So this is giving us our remaining salary when we're trying to force in this Rodgers Adams stuff. So it's going to be tough. I think what did I say? There was one 5,300. Yeah, Moss, since we don't have the Allen stuff here, but like this is just going to be difficult. Even if we take a cheaper running back with somebody like CPAT, I'm just picking a running back here at like a semi-friendly price point. Like we're looking at a $4,300 player. So we go over to our flex, we keep it filtered by rating, and we just kind of scroll down to try and find the first sub $4,300 player that's not a tight end. Donald Parham, Mecole Hardman. So it's a little bit of an onslaught. The first rated. This is just sorted by rating. If we sort by projection, we'll probably have to scroll a little bit more because salary and median projection tend to have a little bit better of a correlation than rating and median projection. Dallas Goedert isn't really a tight end. He's more of a wide receiver, but we still can't use him. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I think this is going to be tough. We're absolutely going to need some salary relief to force in. It's Mecole Hardman once again. So we're definitely going to need some salary relief to force in this Green Bay, Adams, Hill, Rodgers game. But yeah, I think at tight end, like I just based off first look, like based on salaries, I definitely going to be looking to pay down. I won't have any of this Jasicki, Schultz, Pitts, even Goddard probably. Goddard might be the only one there at 45. Yeah, I probably would still prefer like an Ingram or just Dusty Ingram. Never mind, forget I said that. Even with the Shepard stuff, it's just like, no, thank you. So Sweeney is $3,100 against Jacksonville. That if there's no Dawson Knox, I'm probably just playing Sweeney against Jacksonville and just punting. If there's no Waller for whatever reason, then Moreau is going to be the chalk at 3K. I can almost guarantee it. I played Troutman last week due to pass funnel. Did not work out. Got an end zone target or two. Just did not get there. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough week, I think. We're going to have to get unique at salary. But, sometimes they always look tough to start the week, and sometimes they look really easy and go the other way. So we'll just have to see practice reports, see who's in, see who's out, see what type of salary relief we get there. Don't follow the groupthink stuff. People are going to be hunting for these value plays. Just going to be like, hey, play this. Prayer yards this. Yada, yada, yada. Just sometimes you just got to play the guys in the high team totals and and play some of the chalk around it, and it's good to go. Shout out Wilson. Sometimes you just got to play the best plays. Shout out Ian. So with that, run good in week 8, and I'll see you guys on Friday for the quarterback model preview. All right, take it easy.